Hey everyone, in this session we will understand file handling in Python. File handling is a very frequent requirement in real computer programming. We can perform operations on file using Python programming, and that is what file handling in Python is about. The idea is you will write a Python program to access a file present in either in your computer or in some remote location. In Python, there are a lot of functions through which we can perform file handling very easily. The different types of operations we perform on a file is read, write, append and delete. Read is nothing but reading the content stored within a file. Write is to write something into a file. Append is to add few more information into the file without touching the existing information already stored in that file. Delete, we all know, is to delete the file. So these are the operations we should know how to perform in a Python code. Let's jump into the syntax. Using a single line, you can open a file in your Python program. File is a variable or a reference to a file we are trying to open. Open is a function in Python through which we can open a file. We have to provide the path to that file and open mode. Now the file path, if it is present within the same place where your code is residing, we can just provide the file name. However, if it is in some different directory in your computer or in a remote location, we have to provide the fully qualified path of that file so that Python code can go and fetch the content from that file. Open mode, we can open a file in various modes. Either we can open a file to read the content or to write something or to add something in append mode. This R, W and A, these are the open modes in Python code. Once you open the file, you can perform whatever operation you want to perform. You can read the content, modify the content and finally write it into the file. Everything you have to write here within this code segment. There could be hundreds of lines here. Once you are done with your file operation, you have to close that file by using a function called close. So basically you are opening a file by providing the file path and the open mode. This open mode is based on your operation you want to perform on that file. If it is only reading the content from that file, you will open it in read mode, and that's the reason you will write R within quotation here. If you want to write something on that file, you will use W. If you want to add some more information, keeping the existing information intact, you will use A or append mode. So these are all the modes in which you can open a file. Remember, this file.close is very important statement because once we are opening the file and our task is completed with that file, we have to close it off. Otherwise, there will be a chance of memory leak. However, sometimes as a programmer, we can forget to close the file and then there could be a chance of memory leak in your application. In order to avoid this problem, we have some other way to open a file using with keyword. With is a keyword to create a context. So what we will do, we will open this file using with keyword so that after writing the code segment, we don't have to explicitly write file.close here. Once the control is out of this with block, the file will automatically close. It is a best practice to use with keyword while opening the file. In that way, you don't have to remember file closing statement at the end of your operations. So always use this convention to perform file operations. There are few important functions in Python related to file handling. Open, close, we have already discussed about open and close here. Apart from that, there is a read function to read the content of the file. There is a write function to write some new content into a file. OS is a separate module in which we have remove function by which we can delete a file. Read line used to read a single line at a time from a file. Read lines will read all the lines present in your text file. Seek is used to move the file pointer into a desired location. Seek takes the desired location as its argument. Tell is a function which will tell us the current location of the file pointer. All these functions we will see in detail during our coding session. Remember, we cannot open binary files using R, W and A mode. R, W and A modes are only used for text file operation. However, if you want to open an audio file or a video file or an image, you have to use RB, WB and AB as open mode. Here B stands for binary. Now let's go to the PyCharm and understand each and every operations with the help of code. In this source code, we will understand file handling in Python. As we have discussed in our theory session that we can open any file using open function. We have to provide the whole path of the file we want to open and the mode in which we want to open the file. In this line, basically we are opening a file called programming_lang.txt which is present within the same folder where my program is present, and that's the reason I don't have to provide the fully qualified path for this file. We are opening this file using R mode. That means we want to only read the content within it. File is a variable which is referring to programming_lang.txt. To read the file content, we can use read function. File.read will give you the whole content of a file. There is some properties through which we can get some metadata or information about the file. If we put file.name, it will give me the file name. If we use file.mode, it will give me the open mode in which file has been opened. And finally, we must write file.close to close the file. If we forget to add this line, there is a high chance of memory leak. So do not forget to close the file once you are done with that file. Let's open the programming.lang.txt to understand that what is the content within it. We have a bunch of programming languages here ordered based on the popularity. Let's run this program to see the output. If you see here, we could read the content of the file and we can also print the name of the file and the mode in which the file has been opened. Now, as we have discussed in our theory session that sometimes programmers forget to write file.close and that can lead to memory leak. In order to avoid that, the best practice is to use with keyword while opening the file. This creates a context in which we can perform all the operations related to that file, and once we are out of this block, it will automatically close the file. Not only that, if there is any error within this with block, then also it will take care of closing the file. With that benefit, this is the best practice to use with keyword always whenever we are opening a file. In this, basically we have used a new function called readLines. ReadLines also reads all the lines present in your file. We have already discussed the property called name and mode. Let's run this program. If you see here, the content is showing somewhat different. Why? Because readLine reads all the lines, and each and every line, if you see the file, there is some new line. All the content is not written in a single line. Python, and then there is a new line, and then Java and a new line, JavaScript, like this. That's the reason you can see \n here. We know what is the use of \n. It is showing file name because we have printed file.name. It is showing open mode because we have written file.mode. In this program, basically we understood two things. One is always use with keyword while opening the file. Second thing is readlines is a function by which we can read all the content together from a file. In reality, when you will write Python program to solve some enterprise problem statements, the file size will be huge. Using read function, readlines function, we are reading all the file content together and keeping it in main memory. That could be a challenge if the file size is very big. Think you have 8 GB of main memory in your computer and you want to open a file of 16 GB. We cannot copy the whole data in our primary memory, right? That is the reason we can provide the number of characters our read function will read at a time from a file. We can take a data chunk from the whole content and print them up. We will take the next chunk again and print it. In that way, we can take part of the content, print them, and then take another part of the content into memory. So now even though I have 16 GB of file to handle in my local computer which has 8 GB of memory can be possible. Here if you see, initially we are taking only 10 characters from the whole content present within programming_lang.txt and taking it in a data chunk. Every time we are fetching this data, we are checking if the length of data chunk is 0 or not. If it is not 0, that means we have more contents to read from the file. And then we will print the data chunk. Again, we will read next 10 characters from the file. We will check if the chunk, whatever we have received, has some characters or not. If yes, then we will print them up. Again, we will read next 10 characters. In that way, there will be one situation when there is no more characters present in the content of your file, and this program will stop there. Always use this approach when the file size is very big. Let's run the program. We are reading 10 characters at a time. In this example, we will understand details about tell and seek. In this example, we are opening the file with R+ mode. R+ means read and write both. For all other open modes in Python file handling, you can consult the official documentation for Python. So if we open a file using R+ mode, we can read the content as well as we can write the content of that file. If you see here, we are reading the content of a file together. Assume that there is a small file, and that's the reason we use read without specifying the chunk size. So it will read the whole content and keep it in your main memory. Now, after reading this content, if we print the file.tell, tell function tells us the current file pointer of the file. That means after reading the content from programming_lang, the file pointer will be here because we have read all the content, and that is what it will print. Seek function used to move the file pointer into a specific location. Currently the file pointer is here. Using seek 0, we can move the file pointer here at the start of the file. And then we are writing Zython. What it will do? It will replace Python with Zython. Let's run this program and see the result. When we are running this, it is printing all the data because we have used file.read. After that, we are fetching the current file pointer location. the file pointer location is 45. That means end of the file. And then we are moving the file pointer into the start of the file and writing Zython. Where can we see it? Let's open this programming_lang.txt to see that Python has been replaced with Zython. Let's understand file copy operation. The problem statement is we will read the content of a file and then write the same content after creating a new file. The same thing happens when you perform copy paste operation in your computer. We are basically simulating the copy paste operation of your computer using a Python code. Here we are opening programming_lang.txt in read mode because we want to read the content of this file. After that, we are opening another file in write mode. The new file name is programming_lang_copy.txt. This file is not present in my computer right now. As you can see, there is only one file called programming_lang.txt. We will read the content of this file and then we will write the same content into a new file called programming_lang_copy.txt. How can we do that? We are reading one line from read file. Read file is a pointer to the programming_lang.txt. We are reading this file and that is the reason we have opened it in read mode. After reading one line from there, we are writing it into programming_lang_copy.txt. And we are performing the same operation for each and every line present in the programming_lang.txt. Let's run this program. We are expecting a new file will be created with _copy and the content will be exactly same as programming_lang.txt. Program executed successfully and you can see there is a new file created here called programming_lang_copy.txt. Let's open the file to see what is the content. Now if you see, both the file has exactly same content. Hope you have enjoyed this session. Thanks a lot for watching this session.